On today's episode, Missy and I are talking about expanding your awareness.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of On Finding Peace. And this is the podcast where Missy and I talk about basic tips and things that you can do on a daily basis to help you find your inner peace and to help enhance happiness in life. And today we're going to be talking about expanding your awareness. So how's it going, Missy?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Still working from home, still under restrictions in society, but I guess that's how it's going to be for a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I keep getting a sweat mustache every time I wear my mask out. I'm like, I have to pull it down just to wipe the sweat mustache off.
Yeah.
It's definitely, can't imagine what it'd be like having a full-faced beard like you guys do all the time.
It's, people used to ask me before, doesn't that beard make you hot in the summer? And I always say, no, it's fine. Because it was.
Yeah.
But you're right. You
Now
put
with
a mask
on.
now
you're
now
like,
it is the worst thing in the world.
Can't imagine how much heat is created in that little space.
Not good with all that hair, but I am not shaving just because of a mask.
Yeah. Nope, I don't blame you at all. Yeah, but
So,
things are good here. I mean, we're now life on the farm, and it's magical. I mean, like, you would think that it's tough because there's animals and lots of work to do, but it's being in nature every day and making sure that like you're in tune and you're grounded, and it just you really feel the energy flowing through you in just different ways. It's pretty awesome.
yeah. So what kind of animals you got?
We have bunnies and we have ducks and we have our dogs right now. So we'll probably expand on that a little bit, but at this point, that's what I can handle. So I have to chase the ducks out, flapping my arms, getting them to go back home in the mornings. And the bunnies are pretty easy. And then, of course, the dogs are just dirty and messy every time they come in. So it's definitely been a challenge of how to keep the floors clean. But other than that, yeah, it's, if that's the trouble that we have, then, I'll take it.
So for our viewers who watch the video, then maybe we can do a remote from the farm.
Yeah. I
You can
almost sat
stand in the
outside
midst of the
today.
ducks.
Yeah. No, it is not cute. Especially, I'm trying to be all dressed up this morning and I have to go put the ducks away, and I'm in my rubber rain boots. And I'm like, if anybody saw this, they would just crack up laughing, because I'm laughing at myself right now. But, this is the way we roll. I had to change out the heels for some rubber boots for a while today.
Well, I think that that's a perfect unscripted ad for people to join our Patreon, because those would be great pictures to share with a certain membership level on Patreon. That if
Absolutely
you pay
not.
money, you will get to see Missy
All right,
dressed
only
up.
if they pay money. If they pay money, I will take pictures in my rain boots in the mud, chasing.
Well, yeah, they'd have to subscribe at a certain level to be able to get that kind of,
Yeah, definitely. You're really gonna have to, because it's bad enough that the kids see me and my boyfriend sees me, and yeah, I'm so glad to be
yeah.
secluded.
So if you all want to see what it looks like working on the farm dressed up, subscribe to Patreon, support this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yes. So awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But so what are we talking about on this episode about our expectations and all?
I think that that, just being able to tune into the awareness of what life's trying to teach you will help us be able to clean the space and heal the space to elevate ourselves to a new level. And I guess I never realized how important it was. And I never realized, once I found out how important it was, how much other people, some people just don't pay attention to it. And that's okay, because that's where they are on their paths. And at the same time, like, I wanted to share it with everybody when I started realizing, who we really are, what life teaches us, how we can create in this space that we live in on this planet. And, but I want to share because I'm like, oh, I want that for everybody. I want that for you. I want that for you, and sometimes, we forget we're here in this world, and we forget we're in it, but not of it, Yeah. And that's not my line. That's actually one of my teachers, says that a lot. And it really does. It makes a huge difference. It kind of gives you like a zoomed back perspective constantly to be in observance of what's going on in your life, and to be able to feel and see like how the laws of the universe play into it, so that we can clean it up and help affect everybody as a whole.
Yeah. So a lot of that mindfulness piece in there of living in the moment and just really observing and taking in what's happening around me right here at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started, and I meditate regularly. I have meditated regularly for a long time. And, I've fallen off the wagon, then I get back on because I really enjoy it. And then I'm like, but it's not a meditation like most people would think. Like, I don't sit and om, and I don't even sit up. Sometimes I just lay there and I'm just quiet so that I can hear. But recently, one of the teachers that I work with shared with me a heart meditation. And basically how to activate and come into your heart so that you aren't always in your head. When you're in your head, things have a different perception. You have a different perception. And when you're in your heart, it's just amazing, the perception that you feel. And it's weird because in the expansion, it's like I can actually feel the energy in my body. And I know that's pretty crazy, but I'm sure anybody who you talk to about like, have your legs ever fallen asleep, or, that's the feeling that you get. But instead of it being like, oh, I was sitting this way and I had this feeling in my foot because my foot fell asleep, it's like that all the time. And it's peaceful. It's like rhythmical, and it's comforting. And it just makes you feel like there's so much more trust and safety in knowing that the plan has been laid for you, and you don't have to do anything. Like you don't have to control everything. You don't have to muscle your way through it as a human. I feel like I'm talking a lot right now.
Oh, it's good stuff. That's why I haven't interrupted. I'm enjoying this.
But yeah, so I mean, and that's just like, I feel like I'm floating through life, honestly. And it's not that I don't ever come down. It's not that I don't ever have low vibrational moments, because that's the human part.
Yeah,
but at the
that's
same
life.
time,
We all have that.
yeah, but it really makes you appreciate the high points when you have those. And you can also get there, feel the dip now, and then it's like, wait, what? Wait, why did I think that? Or where did that? I'm not entertaining that. Like, just get out of here. And you kind of go right back to, that high vibration, and that takes practice. Like, there's the muscles that we talk about all the time, being able to stand in the observation and see what it's trying to teach you and see where you need to clean it up. And I have a lot of people that are in my space who, let's say, I'm just going to say politics. We all know how politics kind of go, and I don't want to talk politics.
No, we're not going to do that.
But there's a lot of push and pull is what I'm trying to, and so there's a lot of resistance to the other side, right? But the pushing doesn't get you anywhere, and the pulling doesn't get you anywhere. What we really need to do, instead of pointing fingers, is notice that 3 are pointing back at you, right?
Exactly.
And so whatever you're expelling that you don't like about somebody is really the world mirroring and reflecting to you that you have it in your space somewhere that you need to clean it up. And sometimes it's hard to look. It's hard to say, where am I doing that? Like, what is this for? How can I heal this? And those questions, being in those questions, the answer becomes evident. Not always right away, but eventually.
Right. Well, and I think those are the very important questions. And that's what I talk about when I push mindfulness is if we're going to sit in the moment and we're going to feel what we feel and experience what we experience, we can start asking the questions and the non-judgmental questions. So it's, not, well, I'm feeling this way and I shouldn't be. That's judging it.
Right.
But I like the way you're putting it, that it's more of a, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
Or why am I reacting this way? Why am I responding this way? Because now I'm not judging what I'm doing. I'm just trying to learn.
Yeah.
So, right, if I'm pushing or pulling, with somebody else, why am I doing that? What part of this is healthy? What part of this is not healthy?
Yeah. And I think that to add to that, it's also about unconditional love, not only for yourself, but for others. Right. And that's something that I have been practicing, because I don't always love everybody. I don't always like everybody. However, that being said is, I shared this with somebody and one of my teachers again, and she pointed out something so profound to me. It was, unconditional love is not just loving without conditions, right? It's loving where they are on their path and not trying to alter it.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, that's so huge, because previously in my life, I've totally been a type A personality. Like everything had to go my way, right? And now it's like, it's different. Like, the dogs might bark or run through the background, or, like 10 minutes before we got on the podcast, Chris and I were talking and my dog's chewing on the door. And I'm like, gotta go real quick, but that's the flow. Like, that's being in the flow of life and being like, okay, look, I get to create around this. So I can either lose my cool, get upset, let it bother me, or I can just handle it and then move forward. Right. And then it's funny later. Right. And a lot of people wouldn't think that their dog chewing on their door is funny, but to me, that's her way of trying to say, like, hey, I need you. Like, she's actually, I think, has anxiety. When she can't see me, she has anxiety. So that's her way of letting me know, like, hey, I need to be, I'm nervous. Like, I need you. And so thankfully we have 2 dogs. So the other one kind of becomes the emotional support pet.
And maybe one day we'll explore the emotional insecurities of ducks.
Yeah. Not going to happen, my friend. Yeah.
But when you're saying about that unconditional love, I think that that's one of the important pieces that we tend to miss within ourselves. That a lot of people will talk about unconditional love, but how often do we talk about that for ourselves?
Oh,
how many times can we say, I unconditionally love me, meaning what you had just said, meaning, can I love me for who I am at this moment?
Yeah.
And that's not to say that I'm perfect,
right?
But who I am right now, with the good, the bad, the otherwise, can I love me at this moment?
Yeah, but it is perfect. Like, you said, we think it's not perfect, but it is perfect, and like, we can't lay it out any better. We can't have forethought, into the future what we should be by now, right? And then we should on ourselves. We compare ourselves to other people, and I'm just as guilty. I will tell you that when I started getting into transformation, one of my first coaches shared with me to be my own best friend. Because like I would give money, I would give love, I would uplift and thrust people forward to make sure that they were at a higher vibration. I would help transmute that negative energy that they were going through, which I didn't realize that's called alchemy, right? So I would transmute that energy, but then when I was down, I would never reach out because I, first of all, thought vulnerability was bad. But second, I didn't do it for myself. Like I would keep myself in the ring, like I was fighting against myself mentally to stay down, just don't get up. You've been knocked out. It's okay. And then I realized like, wait a minute, if I would do this for everybody else, why am I not doing it for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
that was definitely a journey through self-love for me. And now I recognize like as an empath, I need other empaths. I need other people to, just help filter out the crap. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing about nature that does that for me, or taking a salt bath, or, things that just make me feel good, going and swimming in the ocean,
Yep.
And I think that the more we tune into those things, the more we heal, the less things bother us in life.
Well, because we're more accepting.
Yeah.
If I can look at myself and offer that unconditional love to who I am at this moment without all of those shoulds,
Yeah.
that's going to reduce my anxieties.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow for certain things to just kind of move through me in life without
Yes.
me getting all upset about it,
Yeah.
because I can accept, well, that's how it is right now. Um, I think a part of it too is there's always growth moments,
Yeah.
so it's not like, well, this is who I am, take it or leave it,
Yeah.
because there's always areas that we can grow and become better people. But I think that's what really reduces, the stress. I had a client, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. She came to me. She had just turned 30 years old, and she said she was filled with anxiety. And when we kind of talked about what's going on in her life, what was the anxiety, the big source of her anxiety was that thought she kept telling herself that she should have been married with a child by the time she was 30.
Oh boy.
And here she was 30 and didn't even have a boyfriend.
Yeah. Well,
And that was anxiety because of all the shoulds. She'd been
yeah.
telling herself this for decades,
Yeah.
since she was a teen, that by 30 I should be married and I should have at least one child. Um, and here she was 30, a successful person, but had never been married, no children, and didn't even have a boyfriend at the time that she was seeing me.
Well, and this is where I feel like the law of mentalism, if you think about it, you bring it forth into your life, right? So her resistance, to thinking that she really wasn't going to have it, because you can't should, right?
Yeah.
And it's I am going to do this, or yeah, I should do this, because when we should, we just don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she brought that about, but the resistance was there because of that should. And somebody told me once, and I love this because it makes me think constantly, when I feel that resistance, I'm really closing my heart. I'm really shutting down and protecting myself, which is an egoic standpoint, right? It's the keep me looking good, keep me safe, keep me comfortable, and make me right. So the ego really just made her right that she wasn't going to have it, because she wasn't in her, I'm assuming in her mind, she wasn't enough.
Yep. And that comes into, with this expanding of the awareness, because part of what we had to do is work on that awareness of where are you at the moment? What is all the positives in your life at the moment?
Right.
And that accepting of the self-love and unconditional love that I am who I am.
Yeah.
and life will be life. Um, so yeah, I think that's how, we begin to reduce some of these anxieties and hopefully find more of an inner peace.
Yeah. Having walked that path, I can tell you that when you're starting out on the path, it's like, it's like you have this really strong muscle, right? And then you got this little wimpy muscle, right? So the really strong muscle is like, I'm not good enough. I haven't done it. This is not possible for me. I don't know what they're talking about. And then the wimpy muscle's like, oh, you're pretty. Oh, you're good enough. You're smart. You're kind. You're, whatever. It's trying to tell you that you're doing right, and all the wonderful things that you want everybody to think about you, and you want to think about yourself. But until you start to build that muscle, that crap feels foreign, because that strong muscle is like, it's overpowering. It's overwhelming. It's like the bully, right?
Yep.
And so until you start to stand up for yourself, then you're not gonna recognize that you are stronger than you thought. And then this muscle gets weak. And then, the muscle that I'm pointing to the muscle I was flexing. But when that muscle gets weak, the other one gets stronger because you stop using it. Right.
Yep.
So I think it's important for people to realize that you just need to keep going, even though it feels weird. It feels wrong. It feels like just so foreign to you. It will start to feel natural the more that you practice.
Yep. I totally agree. I don't think it's any different, than any other exercise that you would do where you just have to practice it, and whether it's an intellectual exercise or a physical exercise, but this emotional type of exercise takes practice day in and day out. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but you'll start to see it become easier and easier as time goes on. But I really think that key is that acceptance, just to really start with saying, this is the way my reality is. And whether I like it or not, that's a different story. But do I just accept where this is my reality? And then I move from that point of the acceptance, I move into, what do I do next?
Right. And it's not, and like, if you have a scale and one side of the scale is all the negative stuff and the other side of the scale is all the wonderful stuff, just remember, it's just going to be a tick up at a time. It's not going to just completely flip flop. It's going to take time to build that up and do those things. And I think that's what a lot of us, through the process, you get impatient. Like, you get impatient, but the more that you practice, you start to recognize, like, oh, I was doing this and that just irritated me. What irritated me about it? And why did it irritate me? And you think about that in the moment, rather than, 10 days later, you're still thinking about it,
Right.
And that's where you can get to, that will become more peaceful and help you to expand the awareness of what's going on in your space and how to heal it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and because, in the way that you're saying it, what this is now doing is giving me the power and control over this, because it's not just, things are affecting me, but I can look at this, and when I'm asking the question, why am I bothered?
Yeah.
Is going to give me an answer, which automatically is something that I can do.
Yeah.
To work on why I'm being bothered. And the minute that I can actually do something, that empowerment, that control, that's going to reduce my stress and anxiety as well.
You're going from basically victim to accountable,
Yeah.
right? And all it is willingness. Like, that's it. It is willingness to have an opportunity to see there's a different possibility. Like, and know that you don't know what it's for. Like, because the moment we think we know, guaranteed something else is going to pop up and you're going to go, damn, I thought I was over that. Or, I thought I knew that I was finished with that. It's just, it's just continual practice. This is the game of life,
Yep.
you know, and the more that we can all get out there and do things like this, the happier that we're all going to be.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And that's really how we can find that inner peace and hopefully keep it, on a daily basis.
Yeah. It'll be little dips instead of, highs and lows and highs and lows, like the yo-yo effect. I hate the yo-yo effect, but I'm telling you, like, you have that little dip. When you get to that point, you're like, oh wait, okay, let me just, it's like tune in your radio. Like, oh, there's static, right? That's basically what it feels like. It's like all of a sudden you have a little dip. You're like, oh, static, wait, let me just retune again. And then, oh, it's clear, perfect. And that's what it is. That's how life can be. And that's how your awareness has everything to do with this expansion.
Yep, exactly. But that's where we need to spend that time
Mm-hmm.
in finding quiet enough to examine what's going on. And in general, we don't do that.
Yeah. Well, we have so many distractions.
Right.
And social media, friends, family, and this is not negative. I don't mean any of those things are negative. It just means you definitely need to have the time for yourself. And, let your mantra be, let it be easy.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to muscle your way through it. If you just relax, you'll start to figure it out. So don't think that
Yep.
there's something that you have to go out and learn, and it just will come naturally to you. Just remember, that's what you're here for.
Keep it simple.
That's right. Yeah.
So I didn't sense a natural flow into a listener challenge, but
Oh,
I wonder, is kind of the keep it simple. Would that be a listener challenge
I think
to
so.
have people talk about how they can keep some things in their lives simple?
Yeah. Keep it simple and practice being your own best friend.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think that's how life should be.
Hmm.
It's working for me anyway. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's the great thing that I love about what I'm doing, and then you could probably share similarly that what I talk about are things that I've tried for my own self, and
Yeah.
it seemed to have worked, so I share that with others, and if it works for you, great, and if it doesn't, then find whatever path works for you. But I can definitely say this has worked for me.
Yeah. And I guess I would go one step further in saying that when you're led to do things rather than thinking that you're doing it all on your own. In other
Mm,
words, like spirit is with me, whether you call it God, spirit, universe, whatever you call it.
right.
For me, as I'm being led to do things, I'm finding that it unfolds perfectly. However, when I think I need to do it and I want it a certain way myself, it just doesn't pan out in the time frame that I hope. So, like this house, 8 months. It took 8 months to buy this house, and if I wasn't led that things were always going to work out and it was going to work out perfectly, and I knew deep in my heart that I just had to be patient, then I probably would have never made it. I probably wouldn't have any hair on my head. but because that peace was there, it was there. I just knew that it just wasn't the right time, and I had to wait for it to all fall into place and the puzzle pieces to fit. And as I did, it was surreal the way that it all unfolded. So
Yep.
be led as well in the things that you're doing, so that you can share that with others.
Hmm. Yep. I would totally agree with that.
uh,
That might even be a good way to kind of. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, the people that are watching us on Chris's door is just miraculously opening and closing. And I'm like, I think there's only a dog in the house with him. So sorry, a little squirrel moment from Missy.
Oh, it happens, and I guess we could have people comment as to what they think is happening. Um, but yeah, no, the little dog is not capable of doing that.
Oh,
I don't think so. Um, no, my family has re-entered the house,
oh,
and
nice.
so I closed the door originally, and now it has been opened and closed.
Crept back open. I'm like, I
So
thought he was home alone.
yeah, so living in the moment,
Yes.
it's nothing more than yeah, people doing that.
Yeah.
Good expansion of your awareness, though. I
Yes.
appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ah,
So, any quick final thoughts?
no, just be kind to yourself and and just let it all unfold. It'll just be beautiful.
Yep, I totally agree. And my stress would be the acceptance. Accept yourself where you are, and move where it seems the healthiest for you. But start with acceptance.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so
Great
much,
stuff.
Chris. All right.
All right, it was great talking again. And again, I encourage everybody to comment below or send us emails or on our social media. Our websites are listed, and do the listener challenge. And again, if you want the pictures, go over to Patreon and subscribe. And
What he really meant
we
to say was
essentially,
hashtag on finding peace when you do the listener challenge.
yes, that too. And we will go from there.
All right. Thank you
All
guys for
right,
listening.
thank you.